And the girl just looks back and she's like, yeah, radical.
Oh my god, they were cool, serious?
Chicken jockey. Hello and welcome to the Herald's Horn. This time around, Emma and Dan are here with me, and you know what that means. We are going to be doing our best to tell you why you should be watching the Spotlight Series Denver Limited event this weekend. Coverage is going to be awesome. Also, Tarkir Dragonstorm print quality is pretty bad, and Emma and Dan both tell us what Magic the Gathering card they could write a 400-page book about. Without any other further ado, let's get into this episode. Hello, it's time for the Herald's Horn, part of the One Shot Network. My name is Cal Jones, and today I am joined by the one and only Emma. Say hello, Emma.
Hello, Emma.
Emma is ready to watch coverage all weekend long. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Of course, been a bit abnormal for us to have two people in the booth, but today I am also joined, of course, by Dan. What's up, Dan?
Hello, chicken jockeys. I am back.
Dan has returned. Dan was in a hyperbolic time chamber watching the Minecraft movie at 3x speed on repeat.
I've seen it roughly 3 million times at this point, so I'm ready for the pod.
Good lord.
Run the song. And welcome back. As always, we're going to jump straight into the news. But first, I'm going to thank the wonderful people over on Patreon, including our first chair patron, Bald Rald. The people over on Patreon get special content, including the Cal Solo Show, Cal's Corner, bonus content like us talking about the Minecraft movie, and also bonus questions with our guests every week. If that sounds like the kind of thing that you're into, go ahead and check out the link in the description. Without any other further ado, let's get right into it. Spotlight Series Denver is this weekend. This is a little bit of a different Spotlight Series. So far, our Spotlight Series events have been big GP-like tournaments that have featured constructed formats such as Standard, Pioneer, Modern, Modern Again, what's not to like. But much like the GP years of old, we have to throw a bone to the smarter ones among us. Spotlight Series Denver is limited. It has 2 days of Tarkir Dragonstorm Limited. Day 1 will be sealed deck, with day 2 featuring 2 3-round drafts, which will then feed into a top 8 single elimination draft as well. $50,000 on the line, 10,000 of which will be going to first place. First place I saw also is getting a whole case of collector boosters. It's like 255 collector booster packs. Think about how many scaly dragon scale fetches will be in that. I guess statistically the answer is 1.
Okay, I was going to say
probably
2,
less.
maybe tops.
Less, Dan? So we're at
I wouldn't
like
be
less
surprised
than
if you got
paste?
0.
Sure. Well, hopefully they get a nice Halo foil borderless Elspeth or Ugin instead to make it up for them. And of course, what I would assume the great many people are there hoping to play for. The really big prize beyond the money, obviously, is that all top 8 participants will get an invite to the very rapidly upcoming Pro Tour Magic: The Gathering M- Final Fantasy. So, Pro Tour. So, what's not to like? I'll be there, so they could come and see me at MagicCon Las Vegas. So top 8 Denver, come see Cal at MagicCon Las Vegas. Maybe win the Pro Tour.
Yeah,
How are we feeling? How are we feeling about the return of Limited to a high stakes tournament like this? It feels like it's been forever. Beyond, of course, draft.
It has been forever.
Draft is in every Pro Tour in Worlds. We get it, but you know.
But to be the premier event, yeah.
Especially on release weekend as well. Bearing in mind Tarkir comes out on Friday. This event happens on Saturday. So not only are you getting a limited Grand Prix, air quoting for the people who aren't watching, not only are you getting a limited Grand Prix, but also it's like the first weekend that people can actually play with these cards. You've got some of the best minds trying to figure out limited of a really new set, so it's going to be really exciting to watch. Also, it's really special this time because you got Reid Duke and Lewis Scott Vargas on coverage all weekend. It's basically like GP Reid from 2019, 2020. At one time when Reid did the GP Legacy.
2019 sounds right to
and
me.
They just had him on a camera with like a microphone and he was
they followed Reid Duke all
So
event
good.
long until he was eliminated from top 8 contention. They had a table. They had a mic on the table, and they had Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth commentating solo on top of whatever was being said at the table by Reid Duke and his opponents. And then they usually brought in Reid into the booth after his match to talk about his match. Very cool concept. I am very much looking forward to this weekend. Yes, like Emma just said, Reid Duke and LSV, they will be featuring prominently LSV. LSV will be the primary match, so that we will watch LSV's matches. And then if we have time after LSV's match is done, Reid Duke will be the backup match. And then both of those players will be followed until one or both of them are out of top 8 contention. And as far as though people you could choose to follow for this event, Reid Duke and LSV, Hall of Famers, very popular content creators, 2 of the best limited players in recent memory, if not all time, I would say in LSV's case. Something that popped out for me, I was looking at kind of like Star City Games' fact sheet for the weekend. I noticed that something really neat that they're going to be doing is that they're recording deck techs for both Reid Duke and LSV's Steel deck. They're going to really pick their brain about their thought process about how they put their deck together, what their pool looked like, what they were looking for, what they were happy to see, what kind of tough decisions they had to make. I think that'll be a really interesting window to look into some of the, deeper intricacies of what I think is often discounted as like oh, my pool was so good, I won. Oh, my pool was so bad, I lost. Type of like quote unquote lucky format. I think that'll be a really cool way to look into peak minds, how they think about it more intimately. I thought that was a really cool touch.
Yeah, the extremely high variance of sealed as opposed to drafting, where you're just like, if you're thinking about the amount of packs that you're opening is a third of the amount. Yeah. So yeah, there's so fewer options that you have. It's going to be really interesting to see the way that they think about these packs and navigate them, and how they put their decks together in an environment that is very limited.
For sure. And also, we're also in the play booster era, which means you can open up to like 4 rares in a pack.
It's true.
Things can get a bit swingy. Things can get a bit bomby. You can get some pretty powerful cards. Or you could just open all the rare lands from Tarkir and just be like, well, okay, gotta make something work.
And that's the other thing about this, is that it's unlike some limited environments. This is a limited environment that has tons of color fixing in it. We've got the gain lands at common, the uncommon tri lands, and not to mention the cycle of common. What is that common cycle called?
The monuments.
I'm sorry.
Aren't they the monuments?
No, I'm thinking of the creature, the devotees that all
allow
you to filter mana into their respective shards or wedges or whichever one it is. So yeah, lots of color fixing to be had at like pretty much all points in the rarity ladder. So it'll be interesting to see how many like 2 color decks versus like 4 or 5 color decks that we'll see.
It's super. I think it's also like even sans all that stuff, I think it's very specifically very cool that we're going to see Tarkir as a limited format here, because, obviously Khans has the pedigree of being one of, if not the greatest, limited set of all time. It's many people's favorite limited set of all time. All of us boomers who were around for when Khans first came around, and then they put Khans on Flashback Draft on Arena, and all these Zoomers were like, I don't get it. Seems kind of boring.
It's slow as hell.
No, go to be seen. Understand.
Yep.
They just don't understand.
And it will be interesting for me to see how higher level players get to navigate the intricacies specifically of a largely 3 color focused pool. I was listening to, the traditional limited resources, absolutely monumental, 3 and 4 hour long commons and uncommons and rares and mythic rares review. And I just noticed they were just like, yep, there's like 5 or 6 white rares total, like barely any at all. There's only 1 blue mythic. It's because there are so many gold cards, both 2-color and tricolor, compared to a normal set, a lot of people are having to get their mana straight, or else they're going to lose a lot of games.
Yep.
It's definitely it was in a very integral part of the drafting process. So again, with having so fewer options in your sealed pool, it'll be people's ability to play multiple colors will be very dependent on what they open up and how they're able to string it together well, because it can be hard to splash some cards in this set. There's not a lot of things that are double pips, but there are lots of things that are like 2 or 3 different color pips, which is not necessarily the hardest thing. Like, you would rather have an Atraxa to cast than a Griselbrand, for instance, but it can still be very difficult to make it all work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it'll be really cool. I assume the Tri-Lance are in the set. Do we know what rarity they're at?
They're at uncommon.
Oh, okay, cool. That's not that bad.
No, you tend to see, if you're drafting again, probably like 1 to 2 or 3 per draft.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And I think it differs a little bit from ye old GP Reid is that I think I don't think they're going to have like mics. I don't think like LSV and Reid are going to be mic'd up. I think we're just going to be following them. But we do get a pretty all-star coverage team. We have the wonderful Maria Bartoldi, the return of Mr. Grumpy himself, Patrick Sullivan, my beloved, Paul Cheon. It's been a second since he has commentated anything. He used, we used to get hear him almost every single event, but since he's been laid off from Wizards of the Coast, he's been laying a little more low. Great to see him return to commentating the event. And of course, we also have Alighty commentating as well. So it should be some pretty great booths. Looking forward to hearing their insight, especially Paul. Paul Cheon is one of, has quickly established himself as like the standard set drafting content creator out there. So and he also has, I also got to listen to him a lot as he took over on limited resources for LSV while LSV adjusted to being the life of his like 4th and 5th child or something like that. His 3rd and 4th child being around the house.
Twins.
Just had twins with his wife Gabby. So he took an extended leave of absence for the show. Paul was awesome. But the rest of this crew, incredible as well. So
I am very much looking forward to hearing Paul Cheon just rib LSV all weekend.
That's, I think, going to be the highlight of it. They are like pretty close friends, and he's an absolutely brilliant person and a very funny guy.
Yeah.
Yep. Paul and LSV, perhaps Magic's greatest friends and greatest rivals.
Yes.
When you both come up the same way, aka struggle busing, technically in college, skipping all of your classes, grinding Moto all day instead, and then suddenly emerging from this hyperbolic time chamber of this college apartment as 2 of the best players playing at the time. I think it kind of forges a little bit of a bond between you. So excited. Dan, biggest LSV fan in the world?
I'd like to claim as such. Yeah, definitely. No, he's certainly my personal favorite player, so I'm very excited to see him playing some limited. I know he's such a huge fan of original Tarkir, so I'm very excited to see him tackle the new environment. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So, tune into Spotlight Series Denver this weekend. It should be an awesome show. I do know Emma is going to be sat the entire time.
I mean, I'll be doing other things while watching, but yes, I'll be watching. It's going to be fun. It's just such a unique thing that's happening, and usually with these things, if you care about it, you should just be involved. Like, just help the numbers, because it means you might get to see more of it, and that's good, because, these things are great. And if Wizards and FCG cool, we got a ton of numbers for this Reid and LSV sort of, GP style event, we can do more of it, and then you get more stuff that you like. You have to be involved with it. So I'm expecting it to be a hit, because it's a really good way to advertise limited, which historically is a format that doesn't translate well over coverage.
Mm-hmm. So that coverage will be starting on April 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern for day 1, and then 9 a.m. Eastern on day 2, which is April 13th. And that it will obviously be over on the Star City Games Twitch channel, and presumably their YouTube as well. Go ahead and track that down, and I hope you have a great time watching. That should be a great time, a great celebration of the limited format, great celebration of good players, and also a great celebration of what is looking to be an incredible set that I'm personally really excited for. Something that isn't so incredible about Tarkir, Dragonstorm, it seems like the first run print quality is pretty bad. A couple different stores that have been cracking open a ton of packs have noticed that there is a lot of heavy color unevenness and also print bleeding for a large percentage of their opened, so like non-foil, normal treatment rares and mythic rares. So like not showcase stuff, not foily stuff, but your average Joe Schmo rare, which you'll be pulling out of a pack. One store that I saw talking on twitter.com said that some of their like specific cards, like a Zergo or what have you, more than 50% of the cards they opened of a specific rare might have a fairly significant print error. And that same store also said, like, that happens, especially for first print run stuff. They normally will open a couple misprinted things during their like pre-order mass opening, and they just remove those from the pool and they don't send them on to people. But they pretty much had to come out and say, hey guys, this is such a large percentage of our stuff that we've opened that we've had to like make a new designation on the website, and you can buy it if you want. It seems to be from the packs that were from the United States printers. It seems like some of the packs from the Japanese printers and stuff are fine, but not really sure how that kind of stuff slips through the QC. It seems like something that Wizards has gotten a little better about over time compared to where they were like a decade ago, or like 5 years ago. But I guess this kind of stuff just happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's sort of inevitably going to happen at like some certain rate. It'll never be a completely zero, but like you said, this is like a pretty high percentage of what people are seeing right now, which, yeah, I wonder if this has something to do with like trying to get things to print really quickly, but you said it might have something to do with like the region of where things are printed as well. So
guess we'll see what happens. I know Emma collects misprinted siege rhinos, so I assume she'll be on the lookout for a lot of misprinted skirmish rhinos.
Do I?
I was about to say, do you do? That's cool as hell.
I do not.
Well,
I didn't know we were just allowed to make stuff up about each other.
It's something new. I'll try it on the show. I lie.
That's good.
It was good, but it's also
I wish I thought of it.
Well, it's time for us to move on to yet another recurring segment here on the show. It's time for a letter to the editor. Welcome to Letter to the Editor, the part of the show where our most beloved fans write into us with their problems, their questions, their intrigues. And technically we have a repeat this week because a couple weeks ago, Cal was solo in the booth and I answered a wonderful letter to the editor from the one and only Dusty Cupboards. I'm going to ask Dan and Emma that question today. But first, if you want to submit your own letter to the editor, you can do so through our Patreon or by emailing me editorial@heraldshorn.com. Here is the question. After years of hearing discussion and inside jokes about Stephen Menendian's 400-page book about Gush, I finally bought a copy. Hardcover, duh. If you had to write 400 pages about a single Magic card, which one would you choose and who would you dedicate it to? I talked a little bit about how I would write about Dan, but it kind of, not just about the cards. One chapter would have to be about the origins of the format itself, and one chapter would have to be about how weird of a set Arabian Nights is, and other chapters would have to be about cool fan-made formats in general. A generalized book about Magic the Gathering framed throughout the card, Dan. But so that may be a bit of a cop-out answer, but it's what I could come up with. What about the two of you, Emma? One card.
One card. So I have three different answers. Yeah. The first one's obviously Thraben Spectre. Could write about that card for a long time. Another one is Mold Drifter. And how about, I would dedicate a chapter how I would get the warm tinglies whenever I cast it with Ephemerate with a Vote Trigger on the stack, because that's a pretty fun time.
That would be how much of the book?
About a chapter.
Okay, just one chapter.
I could talk about Pauper, I could talk about loads of stuff. And the other one would probably be Gataxian Probe, and I would have to dedicate that to my husband, because he's a big Gataxian Probe fan. It's like his favorite Magic card, so...
That's a good one, and there's a lot to say about Gataxian Probe.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Truly, yes. And it's one of those things that's very subtle too, where like unless you have played in a constructed format with Gitaxian Pro before, it might escape you how much like just the Thoughtseize that has basically no effect besides looking at your opponent's hand has.
What about you?
Okay, so wait, hold on. Before I answer this, I want to ask this question about the Gush book because I don't know anything about it. Is this just about like the mechanics of playing the card Gush?
Let me find the title. It is called Understanding Gush, Strategies and Tactics. It is, quote, a practical guide to understanding the vintage landscape, the relationship between strategies and tactics, resource management, spell sequencing, and much more. I myself have been like kind of planning on like picking it up for a long time just to like, because it's like a piece of like Magic the Gathering history that I have felt like I need to own for a long time. I've been picking up a lot of those weirdo, like random cool stuff that you can get, but I don't have Gush yet.
Hearing the entire title now, it makes a lot more sense to me, and I can understand that there is a very well-rounded conversation to be had about the card Gush and how that works in terms of like resource management, trading cards for lands, all that, and all the fine-tuning that goes along with that. Okay, so my answer then remains unchanged. Mine would be Brainstorm. I could definitely write 400 pages about Brainstorm and how to cast that properly in many different situations, because there are so many ways to cast it, so many ways to resolve it, and then perform actions afterwards. And they're all really intricate. Who would I dedicate that to? I guess Koval. Koval, I think, is probably the person who inspired me to start thinking more heavily about cantrips and how they work. So, yeah, shout out to Brian Koval. Smoking with the gun and Bosch pack.
I think that's okay.
So does commenters say. I don't know.
Wait, who would you dedicate? Like, if you had a Thraben Inspector book, who would you dedicate it to, Emma?
Me, obviously.
Yeah, what do
dedicate it to me, myself,
to
and
Inspector's number one
and
fan,
Novice
me.
Inspector. There you go. There's a real answer.
I dedicate this to Novice Inspector. You know,
Happy?
Great reasoning, great question. I appreciate it. Wait, Dan, what card did you say?
Me?
Yeah,
Brainstorm?
Oh, sure. And then you would call it Brainstorm, Strategies and Tactics.
I would just rip off the other title entirely.
And then you just like rewrite the entire Gush book, replace Gush with Brainstorm.
I would do a clickbaity one where it's like, you're playing Brainstorm wrong. Here's why. Because you could probably justify it, because everybody plays with Brainstorm wrong.
Every single
or at least most people.
Ever, every single
outside
person
of Koval.
in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Koval
if you've ever
plays
cast
it
a Brainstorm in your first main phase when you started the game, try again.
Yeah.
Unless, and then comes the rest of the book.
Unless, of course, you know, great answers all around. Good talk, everyone. I really liked this question a lot. That's why I had to run it back and ask it again. I thought it was a really interesting question because, like, one of the great Magic bits about Magic the Gathering is that for every single person out there, there are Magic the Gathering cards that they have a unique relationship with, that they have tons of opinions, TM, on. And while I don't think a lot of people could write a 400-page book about it, I think there are a lot of people who, given the time or energy, could write or dictate, you know, like at least like a 10-page, you know, essay or something about their favorite Magic the Gathering card. I just think that's kind of fun, kind of neat.
I fully believe that people have 400 pages worth of feelings about cards that are like infinitely less complicated than Gitaxian Probe or Brainstorm or something like that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I really like this question as well. It's very open-ended, and there's a lot of different ways to approach it. I enjoyed all of our answers. They were fun. Wait, Cal, what was yours? Dan.
Dan.
Yeah.
Yep, mine was Dan.
Yeah, there's a lot to chew on there as well, like
We all picked
culturally
blue cards.
within the game.
Does that mean we're all bad people?
No, I think that means that we're all very smart, and we understand that blue is the coolest color.
We all love blue so much. We're so cool.
I mean, I could play mine in a not blue deck, technically.
That's true. Yep.
It is. I don't even know, like, I think in my original episode, I had like a second card that I was like, or I could do this, and I've already forgotten what it was. So
my second thought was like Hymn to Turok / Thoughtseize.
Sure. Thoughtseize is a good one.
But I could write an 800 book about which one to cast first.
800 pages on Hymn to Turok versus Thoughtseize. Strategies and tactics.
Why does this Underground Sea?
Why does this book say I could return 2 islands to my hand to cast him the Torok? This
Him the Tark is an extremely complicated instant blue spell.
I don't get it. All right, enough about talking about old cards. Let's move on to talking about new cards. It's time for the Product Watch.
Product Watch!
That was very enthusiastic.
Yeah, I don't know. I was really coming with it. It's had the chicken jockey. energy.
Chicken jockey!
Hold on, let me do one more of the chicken jockey. Product Watch! All right, now you can do whatever you gotta do.
Welcome to the Product Watch, the part of the show where we talk about new Magic the Gathering cards that you could buy with your money.
Or not. Like, you could
Or not.
No, you have to.
We have nothing to talk about this week. There's like a new secret lair coming out by the time that this releases. It's like a commander deck or something. People have been spoiling spoilers about it. Not interested. There's been some Final Fantasy leaks. Wizards of the Coast accidentally sent Final Fantasy pre-release packs to Brazil. Some Brazilian LGSs instead of Tarkir Dragonstorm. So those have been popping up on the internet. I also don't care. That is the end of the Product Watch, unless anyone else has anything to add.
Emma, any wild speculations on what the pre-con deck is?
For Secret Lair.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. This is a good one. So let me just time travel. So we've had 20 Ways to Win, which is like the funky WinCon deck. We've had Raining Cats and Dogs. We've had the Angels deck. We've had the Keep to Brute deck. And wasn't there was another one, the Coin Flip deck, which was the first one that was super delayed. So
they don't say. I'm looking at the invite.
Yeah, because it's just like it's an
RSVP to a special secret lair reveal party.
It's an influencer activation, basically, isn't it? That's what's happening here. Good question. I'm expecting something typal. I'm guessing I wouldn't be surprised if there was just a straight up dragon precon, just to go with Tarkir with all the fancy dragons, and it's like the dragon with like a really collector version or something like that. But
that would be super, super hot.
That's my guess.
I want to say that it's going to be something really, really weird, because I think this is going to end up going under the Chaos Vault branding as well.
Sure.
Along with some of their other recent, though I guess all of the commander decks have been basically solo drops. They haven't been with other super drops and stuff, so that may discount that.
It's either that, or I wouldn't be surprised if it's like them doing like a Dragon's Approach X cards in a deck style precon where they have all different printings, because they started to litter the Shadowborn Apostles, Persistent Positioners, really rare. That kind of thing, really like rare, the super rare ones. I just wouldn't shock me if there was like a Dragon's Approach Secret Lair, and like each Dragon's Approach is a different art or something. We still have
a Miku drop left, right?
I'm sure we have infinitely many of them coming throughout time. Every time I look at the Secret Lair website, there's 10 new ones.
We've had all the 4 season ones. We've had all the seasonal ones, so there might be more. But
I'm still going to guess Miku commander deck. That's my insano left field guess. Give it to me.
Yeah, cool.
But SpongeBob Joda is still the commander.
All right.
Isn't Miku like Child of Alara in one of the drops?
Yes,
she is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, all the drops are so weird.
They are very strange, but I don't understand Miku. So,
well, I think that's all we have for this episode of the Herald's Horn podcast. As always, Emma, Dan, do you have anything else to leave our listeners with before we go? Let's start with Emma.
Check channelfireball.com. There is limited set reviews of Tarkir Dragonstorm. So if you want to follow with the coverage this weekend, you can see what LSV and Martin User have been saying about the set.
Dan.
No, nothing to plug this week. Enjoy the show. Rate it 5 stars, please. Comment on whatever podcast app you're listening on. I think that's important.
Allegedly, it can be. And here's the cow plugs. Go back this last Tuesday and listen to the wonderful Jay Anelli interview. Vorthos month is continuing. I got to talk to the Magic the Gathering lore master. What is a Magic lore master? What's up with all those books he's written freelance for Magic the Gathering / Wizards of the Coast? What's up with that? And come back this next Tuesday and listen to me once again continue our Vorthos month interviews, where this time I will be joined by a guy known as Roy Graham, aka the Wizards of the Coast story lead. I'm going to be picking his brain about the last year of story, some of how what sausage is made. We're going to pull back the curtain a little bit, and I think I also am going to give him the stage for a vigorous defense of loot. So look forward to that this coming Thursday. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Emma and Dan, for joining me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you have feedback, would like to sponsor us, or would like to submit something to the Letters to the Editor segment, email me at editorial@heraldtorn.com. The show is hosted, produced, and edited by me, Cal Jones. The rest of the team is, of course, our co-hosts, Emma Partlow, Dan, better known as Moderately Anonymous MTG, and Lexi, better known as Black Girl Mage. We're having so much fun making this show. I hope you're enjoying listening to it. We'll see you next week.